Hello, YouTube. Welcome back. So I know that it has been a decent amount of time since my last video, which was really raw and honest. I think obviously, like I said, I give you guys that authenticity in these videos. That's what I offer here because I think that it helps both me and I know that it helps some people who I have spoken to personally. So yeah, this is not going to be such a hard video in terms of the content and what we're talking about. Honestly, just again talking about some of the observations that I've been noticing recently, and I think something that comes to my mind would be I've been obviously reflecting a lot, and that last video gave me a lot of insight on just how I'm going to start moving forward in life as being a grown man and still having internal struggles, knowing that I know that everybody has struggles. And I actually talk to people who who are struggling and suffering far deeper than I could ever imagine. To put it in plain words, it's like basically all the stuff that I bring to you guys, these people would look at that as like, this is I would wish for that, and I think that's been the best thing since that time, from the last video to now. I'm not saying that I'm at all am I okay with the suffering that people are going through, but just to know that, like I said, we aren't alone and we don't have to do this alone. You know what I'm saying? Even though that I might not ever physically meet some of these people, that was one of my reflections. Was I always talk about the damages of social media and the negative outcomes that social media has produced. And yes, that has been a lot, but I didn't talk about the good things that social media has brought to me, I guess, in my life. Like, it has brought inclusivity in a very exclusive exterior, in my opinion. I feel like my life, especially, like, maybe this is a lot of men can agree with this, but my life is very isolated, whether that is by choice sometimes or sometimes just by natural selection. But my life is very isolated. Like, most of the time, the things that I do, because I'm not a man with my own created family, my own established family, most of my time is spent alone trying to build myself. So I work a lot and I work out a lot, and between that time I'm probably sleeping or doing something to kind of keep up with my wellness, my mind, body, and spirit, my spiritual wellness and whatever, which would be making content. That is the fact that social media, okay, yes, it's probably made me a little bit more conceited, maybe in some bad ways. It's probably made me a little bit more, what's the right word I'm trying to think of? Validate. It made me more hungry for validation of other people, even when I wanted to turn it off. It was like, okay, when I post, I want to make sure this is right, so people can like it and people can be inclined to like it and keep interacting with my content. You know what I mean? And that's probably the dangers. When you let it get that far, that's when it gets like weird and it gets dangerous or just cautionary. Social media. But some of the good things that it has done is it has brought real connections across the world. People that I'll probably never meet, probably wouldn't have met in a different lifetime. I've gotten to speak to, chat with, interact with in some way. Good, genuine, kind-hearted people, like-minded people out there. And I think the feeling that I'm trying to describe that's so drastic is hope. Like, that's the word to describe it. And I think that's probably what I was seeking. Maybe that's what we're all seeking. Oh my goodness, in the grand scheme of things. But that little bit of dosage of me putting the video out there, and people, what was that, a mosquito? God dang. And people that already, see my content or just seeing it for the first time, watching it and resonating with some of my issues, and not resonating with some of my issues, but understanding and sympathizing. We were sympathizing with each other. You know what I mean? I couldn't imagine putting myself in some of their shoes, but I was still able to, even just be not present. Of course, I'm not physically present, but just see their pain because they were able to see mine because I was putting it out there. That is a benefit to social media. Like, someone did raise a question. It's like, are you kind of okay with the vulnerability that you put on social media? And I honestly thought about that. It was, my answer to that, I don't remember actually what I texted them back, but my answer right now is that Um, I've honestly, I'd never found it weird because I grew up with social media. I said I'm only 22, so I was born in '04. So I grew up with an iPad, a Kindle, like social media, Xbox Live, PlayStation, PSP Go, PSP Vita, something like that, whatever the hell, and PlayStation Home. Like I grew up with just always chatting online with people I didn't know, being very open and honest. And I think I'm naturally like that, very open and honest, because I naturally just like open myself up, like not to other people, but like I just like naturally. My mom texted me about. I just naturally like open myself up to myself, so that I can introspect and learn myself more deeply. That's how I am. So that's why I think that social media has, at least with all the damages and with all the bad things that has came with social media today, it does have that good. We are more connected to the world. The age of information is faster than it's ever been, ever in the time of, ever in the history of humanity. So we're in a very weird time. We're in a very weird time. But what a time to be alive sometimes. The thing is just that we kind of have to keep reminding ourselves that we are in a very weird time of life where most of the people, we don't really have much information ahead of us as to where we're going. And most of the people that did it before us didn't do it to this degree. And yeah, we can always say that no generation did it to the degree that X and Y generation did. And yes, that is definitely true. But two truths can be, or there can be two things that are true at the same time. And I believe that those two to be true. That we're just in a very weird point in history and with humanity. So we're in a Point Nemo of the ocean, honestly. Because it's like, who can really save us? Who can save us, honestly? It's just up to us and our intuition and our morals going forward, and the people that run the government. And that's why I think this video is already 10 minutes long, so let's see what we get into later. And that's why I think that my Generation Z, going forward, is going to be very, very important for us to, yes, go to college or not go to college, and work and get in the workforce, but we might have to genuinely become activists in this world. I'm fully prepared for that. Like, I've been slowly trying to research more on African American history, Black American history for sure, because I live in a city where there has been racial tension at one point, and the Black community here essentially has never recovered from something that happened in 1921. So, and I don't believe that the stories and narratives that were painted or shown to us as children growing up were even. I'm not saying I'm not a conspiracy theorist at all, but I'm saying that obviously, can we all come to and find some common ground that most of the things that our government has been telling us, we probably should just take with a grain of salt at this point, and we should be more inclined to do our own research. I don't see how, if you don't live under a rock, how you could watch the things that's going on within our government, with the politicians and the officials with our government, and not want to look into things for yourself. Because I just believe that right now truth is stranger than fiction, and there's a lot of movies being played at once. And that's the reality. And I believe that's the most grounded way to approach the reality set before us. Is not to question everything and be a damn skeptic or a cynic, but to just going forward, understand with AI, with social media, with information, with technology, be cautionary, be hesitant about just what you consume. And that speaks for me as well. But with that also being said, Black Americans are in a good point in history as well, I feel like. And while I do think that, yes, most of us could be, I guess, at the hands of some political decisions years and generations prior to us being born, today we have more resources and access and opportunities than any of our ancestors ever before. That's the way I see it. And I feel like my job, or I guess I feel like one of the things that I can do while I'm here to make my life and other people like me lives better, would be to continue to try to push this train forward, not let it go back. The gerrymandering going on with Tennessee and the districts, I wish I could articulate that but I'm not really caught up with that all the way. I just have a broad understanding of what's going on. But it is issues like that where I'm looking on the news, on the media, and I'm like, okay, that's targeting me. I have a mind and logical brain. I've been given a rational, logical brain. What can I do to try to make this better? You know, me personally. And that's why I believe that in our generation, you're gonna really see people's true colors. You might have to damn near choose a side. You know, what will you fight for? I just think that by the time that I'm in like 40, I'm like 60 years old or something like that, you know, times may be drastically different to where it's, you know, there might be sides. Not like a race war at all, and I'm not trying to incite a race war, but I'm saying morally, your conscience more so. You probably will be asked to make greater decisions. You know, who will you allow your conscience to, who will you allow to tempt your conscience? You know, what will you allow to tempt your conscience and your morals? You know what I'm saying? Definitely, I believe that age, the age of desire, I feel like we're in the age of information. Like, what comes next? Like, and just look at like what we study in like literature and text and history. Like, once people, the human heart, once it's shown something, it desires it, especially if that thing is pleasure. And most of the things in our life, not most of the things in our life, that's a weird way of saying it, but there are things in our life that are derived solely for the pleasure of humans. And it's like, with the age of information, social media gives us this crazy dopamine rush where we just can't ever put our phones down. We're addicted to posting, to looking a certain way, curating a certain lifestyle. So it's like, maybe we're leaving this age of information and heading into this like age of desire, where it's not like all just sexual desire, but it's greed. You know, it's just desire, greed, you know, on a mass scale. I mean, just look at, just observe. We'll just keep observing. This is literally just like a theory of mine, but we'll keep observing. Like I said, on a lighter note, there are things that we can do, you and me, as individual people within our respective community groups, to try to alleviate this pressure coming, and pressure that's already being applied. But yeah, I could talk to you guys all day, but I think I'm gonna scrap this video. I'm gonna end it right here, and probably figure something out. But I appreciate you guys always coming in, checking in, and listening. I'm back. I'm doing better mentally. Anytime that I create and I kind of express, I always feel better. So I am feeling better. It is super freaking hot outside. Like, oh my goodness. But so I'm gonna go inside and cool off. But it's been real, guys. Gabriel's message is out. Peace. You know what I want to talk about? A real, true observation, and I don't really give a damn what you got to say. It's just my observation. Whatever. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys just take a look. All right, let you guys take a look. Okay. Look, I struggle with my own identity. I struggle with my own outward appearance just as much, if not more, than the next guy. But when I tell you that I'm used to myself like everybody else, so I don't look at myself like I'm looking at myself for the first time. Okay, and discretion, please, before I get into this topic of discussion in this video. None of the stuff that I'm about to say is to be taken in a conceited fashion or a braggadocious way, because that's not the way I'm trying to come off. This is just my experience and observance, and what I'm just trying to bring awareness of is this. Like, there are things that come with, I guess, being an attractive guy. And I don't even think that I'm like crazy super attractive. You know what I'm saying? I'm feeling better and I'm feeling more confident because I just got a fresh haircut for the first time in 3 weeks. If I would have shown you what I looked like nearly 2 days ago, I wouldn't have been as, you know what I'm saying? Like, a haircut is like when girls get their nails done or get their hair redone or something like that. You know what I mean? That's what it feels like. It's like our makeup, right? And so I don't think I'm a slouch. I'm not ugly, and I work out, and I eat pretty decently, and I try to stick to a pretty disciplined regimen for myself in terms of my physical bodily activities. But oh my gosh, bro, the amount of and I always tell myself this: I cannot wait until I just get even the smallest amount of, you know, a little bit more pocket change. I'm not gonna lie, fellas, just a little bit more money, because there are so many insecure dudes out here, bro. Like, it's insane the amount of grown men that feel challenged by you, especially when they're with their shorty, when they're with their woman. Like, you walk, and bro, I'm at work trying to make a coin. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm just a brother trying to like make his coin and go home and try to make it to the next day. You know what I'm saying? I got dreams and I got ambitions, ambitions, and I don't want to be stopped at my serving job. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to just stop there and remain there. I don't want to stay stagnant there, right? So that's that. The amount of men that you can tell, like, just, and honestly, I can't tell if it's because or it's because maybe I'm somewhat attractive, I guess, to a female. The amount of dudes that are so insecure, and they show it so easy, bro. Like, oh my, like, listen to this one story. Like, I was really running, and there was a man with his family, and you guys know me decently well. You guys know me. I'm not a homewrecker. I'm never going, and I'm definitely not finna try to do nothing with your wife and your kids right there, bro. What are we saying? So I run past them a few times because I'm running 4 freaking miles down on the spot I'm running at, and they're just walking. So of course I'm gonna be running a few laps around them. Bro, I kid you not, bro. Like, one time I was running and his wife had her back turned, and I have headphones on. He turns around and notices me coming, and his hands are like not even on, like not touching physically. After he turns around and sees me coming, he takes his hand and puts it in his wife's pants in front of me. Why? Like, bruh, she's safe. She's good, brother. I don't want your wife, G. I want my own little shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to find my own little shit. And she taking forever. Because I don't know where she at all. At all. And that's just one story. That's just one instance. At the beach, bro. Whoo-wee. At the beach, it's a whole different story. Like, guys, I'm gonna be honest. Look, I'm just gonna show y'all because I'm real with y'all, right? I'm real with y'all, right? This is me. All right, hold on. Right, this is me, guys. Look. All right. You know, cool, right? All right, cool, whatever. That's not the point. That's not the point of the video, is how I look or whatnot. The point of the video is that a lot of dudes are outwardly projecting, and I feel like in some way, shape, or form, I do as well. But I definitely do notice this with dudes in the gym, with dudes that have a woman, and you don't necessarily notice this with guys that are fly, are attractive, got money, got status. Like, you don't notice these kind of things because they don't have to act this way. Why? Because they don't feel intimidated by another man. They know what they got, who they are, and they know how they got it, what they're gonna do to keep maintaining it, and that's just that. And that's what I'm learning right now, I think, as a man, and it comes in waves, but here's my situation. I'm not, as a 22-year-old man, wherever this may mean for me right now, I guess that I'm not where I want to be. And I'm not saying that I want to be some jacked up millionaire, living a very playboy, hedonistic lifestyle, but I do want to just be a little bit more stable, a little bit more comfortable, where my life was more at my leisure and my freedom. Is that a good way to articulate that so you guys can understand? So that's all I want for myself. The only thing that is there are things that weigh on my conscience that kind of at times inhibit me from feeling that way 100% of the time. And I know that feelings come and go, they're waves, they don't stay, but that's not sometimes like my mindset really dips. As you guys know, like, it's hard for me to stay in that mode or in that focus of, okay, this is where we're at right now, and this is where we're trying to be. This is okay, this is your timeline. You know what I'm saying? It's hard for me to keep that mindset, that focus. But still, I say all that, but I have things to fall back on to remind me of who I am. And I think my physique is probably my trump card right now. Later on in life, I would like for it to be like some form of my creative expression, or maybe it's like my business, or maybe it's my gym. Maybe that is something that I hold real dear to myself. But right now, my physique is a thing that I was really ambitious for at one point. I worked really hard for years to attain, and now I'm kind of reaping the benefits of said hard work. 7 years down the line, by the way. So if that doesn't explain to you the idea of delayed gratification, I don't know what does. I low-key, I see myself every day, like I said, so I'll call myself mid, but whatever you call this, it took 7, almost 8 years to get to this point right here. And yes, I'm completely natural, not on any steroids or anything like that. So do with that information what you will. And that's the issue. That's what drives many men to be so insecure. when they see, I guess, when they see a guy that has muscle mass and has, lean, both of those things actually, rightfully so, it might show you that, I don't know how that would intimidate you though. That's what you know what I mean? Because when I see dudes that are popping it, sometimes I feel like, I feel less than, but I just kind of have to remind myself that that's them, and that's what they earn for themselves, no matter kind of how they got it, how they went about getting it, that's what they earn for themselves, They put in the work for it and that's what they got, or they didn't. Life throws out cards, life will throw you a hand. It's just about how you roll with it, I think, at some time. People take that philosophy way too literal and try to apply it to every facet and form of their life, and in some ways it works and in other ways it just can't. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't say, oh, that's just life and let's roll with it when, maybe you lost someone super close to you. That philosophy don't stick. That's a whole other question. That's a whole other topic for another day, because then we can talk about religion and morality and, because I have hinted at that before on this channel. But back to this conversation, I just see a lot of insecurity, and I think that social media, once again, has a hand in that and propelling that. But there's no need, I guess, to walk around life and always comparing yourself to the next person, as you guys know. Yet I still struggle with doing that every time that I step out the door. So I made it my mission this summer to try to, take care of what I want to take care of, and let's see if that fixes this, little hole that I guess I'm, having, or not. But yeah, I see that with me, myself, and other, young men out there. There is an epidemic going out there for sure. And I wish that like the body, it has the status symbol. It does have a status symbol, but I'm gonna go off subject real quick. The body holds a certain status symbol, but to me, I don't want that anymore. I want something else to show. Yeah, it's cool, I got a physique. Now it's like, okay, now